Can we go around this way?
Sure.
One of the things that we're really concerned about with the Progressive Party, there's multiple issues, but transparency.
Oh, if I may, they're having their in-person meeting this next Tuesday, is that right?
We are.
Okay.
And then we're having, Green Party's having ours on the 21st.
So, transparency and police accountability are huge issues with us. What would you do to ensure that we don't have the tragedies that have occurred in the past and continue to occur today with regards to police violence and ill treatment of our citizens?
Well, first of all, on transparency, again, you can look at my track record in the legislature. I have supported legislation that opens public records to review by the public, by reporters, in order to help the public understand information. I have been an absolutely consistent vote against closing public records. In fact, sometimes I've been the only vote saying, no, you know, if that's a public record created on behalf of the public and at public expense, then we ought to be able to see what's in it. And in terms of police issues, transparency is an important part of it. But we need to do more than just be transparent about the issues after the fact. We have to be sure we have executive orders within the police department and the kind of training that will help prevent the tragedies that unfortunately we've seen too often in the recent past. When I was in the state, I oversaw, from a budget point of view, the Department of Police Safety and Standards training, and made sure that it included particularly training for emergency situations that didn't warrant or merit any kind of force, but instead warranted an approach that was certainly protective of innocent bystanders or adjacent property owners or things, but also was respectful of the people directly involved.
Clarifying on that.
You can go next for the full question, but if you have a clarifying on her
Clarifying on
response,
SWAT?
or what shall she respond to?
Where do you stand on the Charter Review Commission? Because there's one established that's ending now, and there needs to be another one in 2013. Since Portland's a charter-driven city, that's a actual democratic way for people, citizens, to affect what happens in the city of Portland. Do you support that? And would you fund it?
There's as you know, there is currently a charter review commission sitting and reviewing the charter for recommendations to the voters for possible changes. As I understand it, having talked with several members of that commission, they've essentially been told by existing members of the council, including the one I'm running against, that they should not be looking at anything very bold. They should just kind of tweak a little bit here around the edges. We don't want to have big proposals. I think that's inappropriate. We ought not to be limiting citizen volunteers who we've asked to review this information and this structure. We shouldn't be limiting what they're allowed to talk about.
Would you support with funding and staffing?
You bet.
So, a clarifying question on Mr. Rolato's question. Currently, they were convened to review the charter. Their mandate is expiring, and whether or not they'll be reconvened in 2013 is still up in the air. Is it direct response?
Well, as I understand it, they're going to be coming out with some recommendations, particularly, I think the question of utility rate review is still an open question for the city, the Charter Review Commission.
My question specifically is, do you support the reconvening on a yearly or biannual basis of the City Charter Commission as a permanent structure or fixture, so that people can bring their concerns and seek redress directly through action with the Portland Charter?
There's a requirement for a convening of a Charter Review Commission every 5 years.
Every
and
5
I support the 5 year.
5 years. Do you think that once or one every 2 years or 1 year is too much?
The charter is essentially the Constitution, and I do not support changing the U.S. Constitution or the state constitution frequently. I think when we change the basic structure of government, it ought to be a weighty decision. And it requires a good bit of time for the voters who will be voting on those issues. The Charter Review Commission members spend a lot of time studying things. And all the voters don't dedicate the same amount of energy and diligence. And they've got lives to live, jobs to do, kids to raise. So I want it to be something that really rivets people's attention to new proposed changes. And I think if we do it every year, it has the likelihood that it will kind of minimize the value of it and undermine the significance of the charter.
And I would just say that I would disagree with you there.
And that's fine. We don't have to agree on everything.
No, I just want to make one point, is that a charter commission meets every 5 years, and city council members serve for 4. That still doesn't give citizens an avenue to address concerns that don't occur that may not occurring on the 5 or 4 year mark, where they can bring it to the vote through city council or mayor.
So I have a clarifying on your response. So you said that you thought that, I believe you said something like the city council's pressure. So they can't tell the charter commission what to do. That's not within their rights, as I understand it. But their pressure to shut down before they succeeded, like they had some weighty issues that they were considering. That was making it appropriate. So I wonder to clarify your feeling of the Charter Review Commission, which I believe you support, but just as you said, maybe every 5 years or maybe every 4 years. Would you support it just once reconvening, say, in a shorter period of time, 1 or 2 years, not as a regular thing, but just maybe to catch up on some of the stuff that we didn't have time to do this first time?
I haven't looked at that, but
Would you consider it?
I consider it. When you get an incumbent or a set of incumbents who are giving direction either to their managers or to the city code or to volunteer commissions that you don't like, we have elections every 4 years for city commissioners. And if you don't like a decision one of them's making, then hire someone else, like me.
So,
Is this another clarifying?
no, I'd like to
New
ask
question?
a new question. That's my point of
If
view.
we're kind of going, you can, all right.
Okay. Well, the Green Party and the Progressive Party are both very interested in ensuring the health of our democratic elections and systems that encourage a diversity of candidates. What is your position on publicly financed city elections, your position on instant runoff voting, and your position on having participatory budget processes within the city's departments?
Lots of questions all wrapped up in one. I supported a campaign to continue voter-owned elections, both financially and with my voice, as every time I had an opportunity in 2010, I spoke in favor of it, and I donated to the campaign, and I advocated for it. I would like to see it happen again, and I will be part of the conversation at City Hall to see if there is a way for us to revive that. Instant runoff, I voted for, I don't remember bill numbers, but we had legislation in the Oregon House around instant runoffs, and that one did not move forward, but I did support the bill that provides for multiple listing of nominations so that a candidate can list.
Fusion voting.
Thank you.
Yeah, this
Fusion
is
voting.
different. This is.
I understand they're different, but the question is access to the ballot and opportunity for
Okay.
other parties to participate in the process. The instant runoff bill went to a committee that I was not on. I would have supported it, didn't have a chance to because it didn't get to the floor. I did support, not an exact substitute, but a step in the direction of more openness in the form of future voting.
And your position
What was the
on
other question?
participatory budgets in the city budgeting
Oh,
process?
I think we need to have citizen input, outside expert input, open process. I'll tell you, one of the challenges there is it's very difficult to find something that is engaging enough for people to participate in. My hat is off to the volunteers who serve on the citizen budget advisory committees of different agencies, both at the city level, at the county level, at the school district level, at the local school level. But broader than that group, public forums, we ought to find ways together to engage people in participating in those, because I think it would really help the conversation. It would give us the opportunity to hear ideas that we wouldn't otherwise hear.
Clarifiers? Clarifying her response or his question?
No, new question?
Can you wait until after? Oh wait, you were already here. Sorry, okay, go ahead. I was just trying to go in a circle, but I forgot that you were there.
I don't know who you are. Who are you representing?
I'm the guy who brought this meeting together, so I'm acting as the convener.
He's the executive director of the Portland chapter of the Green Party.
Okay.
And you're from the Progressive Party, right?
Well, also Individuals for Justice.
Oh, great.
So I think we have a few representatives here from the Oregon Progressive Party. My question is that, just your personal opinion now, we are marching towards war with Iran. Your budget, if you're elected, is directly affected by a lack of money coming from the county, coming from the state, coming from the federal government. We are spending trillions of dollars on wars for the last 10 years. In your mind, do you make that connection where you say, one of the principal reasons that I can't fund the things that I want to fund in the city is because of these idiots in Congress? Do you ever make that connection?
I'm hearing in your question that you're opposing our participation in the wars and the spending on the military. I agree with you on both those points. But I'm running for city council in order to do the best we can with what's available to us. I don't want to spend a lot of my energy, a lot of my resources, a lot of the public bandwidth
Simple
on things
question,
we
do
can't
you
solve.
see the connection from Washington marching to war and you not having the ability to run the city because you have no money?
I don't think it is a simple question, and I'm trying to give some
Okay.
background. And
That's
if-
cool.
And if you don't want to hear my perspective on it, then we'll go on.
No,
to the
I'll listen to it.
A clarifying question.
With her response or his question?
Well, sort of related to the question, what is your position upon a resolution from the city to oppose or call for an end to the war in Afghanistan?
I'd have to see the actual resolution. I am not a big fan of memorials in Congress and the legislature or at the city level because they don't, I want to focus our local energies on the things we can affect locally. And I participate as a voter and as a volunteer in campaigns for congressional seats. But I think the city needs to really spend its resources and what little attention it can get from the public on the things that we can directly affect.
Did you want to clarify as well?
I had a similar question, but there's a second part that maybe I'm curious about. Is sometimes in City Hall you have the opportunity to vote for something even though it runs up against constitutional or mandates or Supreme Court mandates. A lot of communities have used City Hall to stop coal trains from going through their communities and so forth. Would you be willing to make stances, put your foot down at the city level, even though that would challenge state constitution, on something like coal trains going through communities if the people in that community don't want it?
I can't answer a question of whether I would support something like this.
Do we have a
But
concrete example?
I think
If
I've
I can
answered the
clarify.
question.
Yeah,
That-
I think what he's asking is, are you willing to challenge essentially directly the federal government
Or state.
or state pass legislation that was in conflict. We could basically use that tactic.
Passing legislation, I'm probably not going to be supportive of. If it goes beyond what the city's authority is, I think there are enough issues, critically important issues, at the city level that directly relate to what the city's charter is, what the city municipal government is supposed to perform. Now, separate from that, as an elected representative of the citizens, I already routinely have conversations with members of Congress. I speak at events and rallies and forums on issues that go beyond the state legislature's responsibilities. So I see them as connected, but not coincident, not exactly the same thing. I'm not generally inclined to try to use one level of government to impose a change on another that is outside its authority. But I'm not at all opposed to using whatever bully pulpit I might have to express my point of view and try to get my partners at the county or at the state or at the federal government to change the policies they're moving on.
Did that answer your clarifying question?
Yeah, I mean, my only concern is that you said that some things are not necessarily city-related or within the domain of the city, but I think a lot of us feel that things like environmental elements like our water, and they are, but they're controlled by federal and state regulation. So in those instances, the city could make resolutions saying, no, this is our right, we have a right to this is our land, and we're not going to go with something that the federal government decided for us on these elements. Those are the ones that I was really getting at. I don't have a concrete example. Maybe the coal streams, I think that's something that...
Did you?
Well, this is a related, what is your position in regards to the Joint Terrorism Task Force? Do you believe the city should be participating in that?
That's very different than this question, because the question then is city participation, and that is within the authority of the city council, the municipal government, to take a position on. And I believe that the city should not participate in a task force of any kind that excludes the elected representatives of the people from the chain of command. And the current structure of participation through the FBI and the Joint Terrorism Task Force is that the elected civilian leader, mayor, or police commissioner is out of the room. And I think that's a huge risk and a mistake.
So for time?
I wanted to ask about platforms. Why should the Green Party endorse you? How are your values on our platform?
Well, are you familiar with the Portland Green Party's like 4-pillar? Do you mind if I say what they are? Peace, sustainability, conservation, grassroots democracy, and social justice. And then some examples for social justice. There's restorative justice as a general all-encompassing campaign. Single-payer healthcare. So these are some of our active campaigns. And then grassroots democracy. There's our Great Voices Run Voting campaign. The public financing of elections campaign. For conservation and sustainability, we have a green energy campaign which encompasses what we support, like the REP, or going into renewable energy policy, against coal campaign we support, so trying to keep exports of coal through Portland, and sunsetting new energy, and also, like for example, you can actually put chicken in. And then for peace, it's more, we don't have a good active campaign because it's like local, but in general, it might be police and nonviolence, some other, so probably statewide federal level campaigns.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So the case I'd make is there are two aspects as you're looking at your priorities and One is accord and alignment with the positions you take. I will tell you that from your description and from what I know, there is strong alignment. There may not be 100% alignment in every single detail, and I say that to every group I meet with. In the legislature, I've passed probably close to 6,000 votes in my career. I can guarantee you that there will be some of those votes that everyone at this table disagrees with the way I voted on, at least a few of them. But I'd be willing to bet you couldn't all agree among yourselves on all 6,000 of them exactly how to vote. But the preponderance of the issues, I am with you. I have an outstanding track record on not just voting right for environmental issues, but leading the charge on important ones. Not just voting on social justice issues, but bringing forward legislation, leading the charge, rallying the other parts. So that leads to the second part of what I would hope you consider in your evaluation. Am I with you on the overwhelming share? I don't think 52% should be good enough for you, but is 95% good enough for you, 98% good enough for you? I'd be willing to bet that we're probably somewhere in that range of agreement. Then the question I hope you also ask yourself and your members is, who's going to get things done the best for us? Who can take an idea and actually make it law or policy? Who can implement it in a budget that changes the outcome? It doesn't just say, this is the way I voted. It changes the way Portlanders live their lives. And on that one, I think my track record is exceptional and certainly very much stronger than on the incumbent. I have advanced. I was one of the negotiators on the Healthy Kids Plan. It's not single payer, but it brings 85 to 90,000 kids who didn't have health care into a system where they're now able to get preventive health care. I sponsored legislation that's bullying. I sponsored legislation on domestic partnerships to have equal social justice for gay and lesbian members. I sponsored legislation on advancing sound lands to protect farm and forest and open spaces in this river. So if you look at my record, I don't know the exact number, but we agree on most of the things that you put in your platform, and I have a track record of delivering not just on the simple stuff, but on the controversial things that require negotiation and in the end require backbone, and that's what I've got.
No, not clarifying. I just have one question.
Any question? We got time?
We have 3 minutes.
Let's you go.
Core issue for the Oregon Progressive Party, something we all feel very strongly about, is that healthcare is a basic human right. So my first question is do you agree that healthcare
Yes,
is
and
a
I'm
basic?
on record. I voted for the HOPE initiative
Great.
that Representative Greenwood brought forward in
The second question is,
2009.
my second question is that right now at the national level, single-payer healthcare is not going to work. We are working at a state level, but there's no reason that we couldn't start an initiative, say, at a city level. Would that be something that you'd be willing to look into
I'd be happy to look into it. I would want,
or support, rather?
I would be happy to look into it. I would support it if we get to a couple of thresholds. One is that we have a realistic shot at success, and that hinges largely on the breadth of the coalition that we're able to build. I am not particularly supportive of bringing forward ideas that go crashing on the rocks because the voters have not been given enough information or brought along to support them. And the second one is, at a city level, critical aspect for me would be whether the city has enough heft in its market share to be able to influence a bigger picture. I think there are plenty of instances in the past where Portland has set the agenda by going out there on a limb. We have brought the rest of the state along, and sometimes we've brought the rest of the country along. And I'd like to see us have the opportunity to play that role again. If we're going to put the amount of resources, because we're talking hundreds of thousands of hours of volunteer time to be successful. And before we ask our friends to invest that kind of time and energy, we better know we've got a really solid chance, not a guarantee, but a solid chance that we're actually likely to succeed.
So we're running short on time. If I can ask, are you able to stick around, or do you have to get going?
I have 3 other things to get to this afternoon.
I was going to ask before she leaves the money out of politics question. Were you going to ask something similar?
Politics question?
Money out of politics.
Oh, money out of politics.
Like, is that all right?
If that hasn't been covered, then you should ask it.
Yeah. It's,
Different than the voter-owned elections.
well, it's separating corporations from political power. It's challenging corporate personhood. It's like, I mean, it's
In
like,
90 seconds? I'm
well, public
sorry.
financing of elections is a tactic that addresses that. But knowing that challenging corporate personhood has been a big part of the movement, and money out of politics is something that people are starting to say more and more. And that's something that is different between, I believe, between Amanda Prince and that she's limited herself, I believe, to $50 donations. So just as a, maybe you can clarify my question.
What is your position towards Measure 47? And on a city initiative with regards to city elections, what do you feel are campaign finance or contribution limit rules that we can adopt and implement in order to prevent sort of the corporate dilution of the citizens' vote?
Let me try to address both those questions together.
Okay.
I am as troubled by the establishment of corporate personhood as I think anybody here is. I think Abraham Lincoln was right in the concerns he had 150 years ago as this issue started percolating up. And we have seen in the last few years, and I think we will see 1,000 times over with this election process at the federal level, how devastating that notion and the Citizens United Supreme Court ruling will be on democracy. Having said that, I'm not interested in the proposals that in trying to remove corporate personhood end up undermining membership-based organizations' capacity to participate effectively in the political process.
That's not Measure 47.
Maybe you want to answer the question for me.
That's not Measure 47.
Maybe just
The
clarify.
question was on Measure 47.
47.
Shall I clarify
Just
that
stick to the issue.
Well, she doesn't have a lot of time, so that's okay. Go ahead, Devin, if you can clarify 47.
Mary, would you like a clarification on Measure 47?
I know Measure 47, and we respectfully disagree about its impact on membership organizations. And I'm not alone in that. There are plenty of membership organizations who don't like the specific terms of Measure 47. And I think the intent, if it is to focus on removal of corporate personhood and corporate free speech participation by corporations, I support that. But the mechanism ends up hurting membership organizations. And we can disagree about whether it was intended or whether you even agree with me that that's the effect it has. But that's my reading of the legislation. And because of that, I would support a different way to reduce the impact of money in politics, but not in such a way that undermines individual membership organizations from having an effective role in influencing public decisions, budget decisions that affect their members and their members' families.
So we gotta switch out for Brady.
Okay.
But I wonder if maybe if Seth's interested, if you got a few minutes, maybe you guys could have a back and forth. Seth's also on our board. And maybe if there's if there's a chance for some clarity, to be willing to do that? Well, for a few minutes to get some clarity, or
On the side? Sure.
yeah, sure. Great.
Thanks. And as I said,
So the format's fairly casual because there's not that many of us who all know each other, but it's basically we'll I can ask a question that sort of lets you talk about yourself for a few minutes, and then go around and let everybody ask us a question of you, and then people can ask clarifying questions all the time. Clarifying is coordinating.
Round of introductions. Jordan, the executive director. Seth,
Executive Director of
Well, the Portland Green Party, I think what I'm saying is this is.
Seth, Emery, treasurer of the Portland Green Party. Emery, Alex, and myself are on the board of the Green Party.
Easier said than done.
I'm Stephen Reynolds. I'm
But you guys
representative of the Progressive Party. I'm also the candidate of the special.
Alex.
So whenever we're ready.
How much time do you have?
Half an hour, and then if you wanted to, it's up to you whether you want to go over to the Occupy office and check it out. I thought it would be cool to have people see another side of Occupy they may have not seen.
Yeah, we have a little house party this afternoon.
So like the forum, it's not a did you have a chance to watch the forum online?
I didn't watch this, but I'm part of the Occupy forum.
The People's Co-op one?
Not the I heard a lot.
Oh, great.
I've been watching in that room too, but I know how codes are.
It's not the forum, and this meeting is intended to be an opportunity for clarification. Where we're coming from, where we're coming from. Yeah, and just Mason Jefferson Smith saying that he's ready to go.
Is that where that happened?
His campaign was like, dude, why did you put that link up? And I'm like, if somebody takes it out of context, I will challenge it. There's some comments in Oregon Live that said, you were there, you didn't see that. It was just something funny, obviously a slip.
And it was in relation to a question that was about Portland, Oregon, Portland-Salem relations, basically.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah, interactions with.
And if you, yeah, I think in 2005 somebody thought he mentioned.
That's not a political.
But yeah, so I guess, and also, Sadie?
Hey, no, sorry.
Yeah, from the Charter Review Commission. So she said that, like, do you want to, like, say, like, a brief word about yourself? Or do you want to just jump into questions?
Just tell me when you're going to start.
Okay, good. You can start.
Started.
All right. And who's filming today?
I'm filming with independent media.
And I'm filming on behalf of the Oregon Progressive Party for the members who could not be here.
Nice. That's great. And I just wanted to introduce my mother. My mother is, I'm Sue Brady.
From Chicago, and I grew up in a place almost just like this, the Heartland Cafe on the north side of Chicago. It brings back lots of memories, and it's still open.
I'm a good old Democrat from the Chicago area. Anyway, she's visiting for a week. Thanks for having us all. Let me see. A few things about myself. How much time do I have? Like a minute or?
Well, at the forum, people would keep talking until they start going like this. And then you took that as a sign as maybe you should
And you
wrap
see
up.
the rolling disco symbol. That's
it, the
a
rolling
verbal
disco
cue.
symbol.
Yeah.
Because you want us to learn about your questions too, so.
Yeah, right. So let me see. Things that you might be interested in is that I grew up in the Chicago area, and I grew up in a Irish Catholic Democratic family. And my mother coordinated congressional campaigns, worked in Congressman staff, Congressman Abnexby. You may remember them, or you may have read about them. Based on the age of the group. I was a precinct captain by age 12, knocked on a lot of doors. So I think that's probably where I learned that you put your heart into something and actually get the person elected that you want to get elected. And I was a young activist and ended up on the West Coast. I basically had convinced my parents that the Evergreen State College was a quiet, neutral little state college tucked away in a forest. Kind of a radical concept, actually. And my
background, my educational background at Every and Beyond is in organizational development. So how do you create teams that actually work? How do you create a culture that can change a business, a civic organization, really transform an organization, a business, etc. At age 24, I moved to Portland, and I had a young family, and we had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I took a job at Nature's Fresh Northwest for $5 an hour. And that was my entree into the grocery industry in Portland. And it was a tiny little company. It was back in the day when organics was, I think my mother thought it was a cult or a phase or something. And we had to convince her otherwise that it was going to grow into being something important and meaningful. And I became the HR director at Nature's, sat on the executive team. And I think that's really where I learned that business can be an exciting form of social change if you do it right. And you can do well by doing good, and you can have a mission and a margin at the same time. And I'm proud of that work. I've been involved in 5 landmark Portland organizations: Nature's, New Seasons Market, Eco Trust, Vice President of Eco Trust, Sanger Farm, which is in East Portland and Lennox. I chair that board, help grow that organization. And currently I'm on the board of the Chanel Club, which is the green coupon guy. So I have a large background in let me see, what else I can tell you about? My public policy background is as sitting on boards and commissions. So I was on the Oregon Public Fund Board. Governor Kulongoski asked me to sit on the Oregon Public Fund Board. And in 2009, in the middle of the recession, I'm really proud that we were able to bring together this really diverse group of people, from insurance executives to labor leaders to patient activists. Osprey was heavily involved with them, to put together a package of legislation that passed legislature and now covers over 94,000 markets. It's really something Oregon should be very proud of, that we were able to put together a very complex piece of legislation in the midst, actually before the federal health care. So there's a little bit about me. Got it. The disco thing is happening. So why am I running? Why am I running? I'm running because I think Portland can be a great place to live, and I think it can be a tough place to find a job or make a living. And in the end, we're hurting ourselves. We need to. It's not okay that that tip jar over at the red and black coffee table says, "Tips, please," because that's how we make a living wage. It's not okay. We have to be able to pay our rent, pay for our health care, pay for our car insurance, bike, or whatever it is that we drive around on. So I am in it because I bring my entrepreneurial background, my ability to think about systems, and my coalition building background to give the path of making this just a vibrant local economy. So I believe in the power of local people because you know what? Main Street hit Wall Street 3 weeks. And the only people that can fix it is us. So we're looking at it. This is us. We're the ones that are going to rebuild this economy and make it fair, provide jobs for everybody. So here I am, and thanks for having me.
I think there's few enough that everyone can ask one question. That makes sense. And then I would start going the opposite way. All the way around. If that's okay.
So my question is, I feel like the last 20, 30 years, judging by how people are doing and that the study has gone through, is sort of a mark on our legislative process at every level. People have not been doing, and I don't think it's a question of people doing their job good enough. I think we're fundamentally not doing something right in our governance. So other than you doing a job better than somebody else, what are your, how will you be doing something different, radically different to help people out? Maybe with some specific examples at the city level.
I've always done things a little bit different. That's kind of the mark of my career. So I don't just do groceries. I'm interested in building a regional food system, right? I'm not just interested in healthcare. I want to provide healthcare to everybody. So I would say that first of all, I bring a fresh perspective to City Hall. And our city
as you know, has all of these commissions, I mean, all these bureaus run by commissioners. And it's an unusual form of city government. And you have to be able to see across the bureaus to really set priorities for the entire city. And then set the priorities inside the bureau that reach the priorities of that citizens actually want. So as opposed to building a budget, for instance, an annual budget from the ground up inside a bureau, and then seeing how it fits inside the city, I build it from the center, which to me is where the citizens are. The Portland plan, do you guys get involved in organizing the Portland plan at all? Providing input?
The pink oil sustainability program.
That's part of it. That's part of it. Yeah, and the Portland plan is really a group of citizens that have spent a whole bunch of grassroots time putting together the beginnings of a strategic plan for the city. And the council has to not only adopt the plan, but has to set priorities. And then set the actual budget items within each of them. So that's very specific from a budget process perspective. I bring a holistic, what's most important type of approach to the city.
Yeah, almost a little bit following up on that. We're a lot in grassroots democracy, and how do you plan to increase public participation in decision making?
And there's two sides to that question. One of the sides is that actually we've invited a lot of citizens onto boards and committees and task forces that don't end up with any action. And it's not fair. It's a false promise, and it's a waste of people's time. So the first thing I want to do is look at where are we asking people to participate, and let's make sure that we actually, those task forces actually had our meaning, and they're not just lip service to the citizens. So that's number one. The second thing is we have a tremendous neighborhood network. And so there's a neighborhood association network that needs to have and continue to have a strong seat at the table. And I'll go out on a limb here and say that there is going to be a point when government moves to more of a post-bureaucratic time in place. Look at all this digital technology we have. We have an opportunity to have a lot more citizen input when you take technology into consideration. So between neighborhood associations, making sure the task force are actually really powerful, and looking at what a post-bureaucratic city government might look like, I think it's real opportunities for increased citizenship.
Do you have any specific policies or plans to carry those out, especially related to minorities or
The Multnomah County Youth Engagement, that commission, really great. And I want to work closely with that commission. So for instance, they are working on, they work on a number of things, but the Youth Pass for TriMet, I don't know if you know about this, but that particular program is losing funding. And because we have a hole in our, across the board with TriMet, county, city. So we are about to, and then by June, we're going to end up with that Youth Pass program is going to be cut unless we can come up with a private-public solution. And it's going to, and eventually, the answer to the question is more jobs will increase more payroll taxes to help pay for TriMet, and then will help pay for this Youth Pass. But it's going to take the work of that Youth Commission and really empowering them to lobby for the people making plans. I would just say here that, because for instance, don't take offense to it, but where are the women? Where are the people of color in this circle?
They decided not to come.
And when I say things like that, I'm actually not afraid to say it and say, you know what? Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's make sure we have all the stakeholders at the table. This is just for example.
If you watch the forum, I went really out of my way to make sure that more women showed up. I think it's also something to make in place, making it as inviting and positive as possible.
So you understand, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take people like
Takes
you
work.
and I to say.
If I don't do anything, then especially in a city like Portland, we end up with a very singular vision.
Yeah, exactly. So we all have to recognize that and be conscious of it. And actually, it takes work to get people to feel like they're empowered and they're truly invited.
3 of the 5 people in the front row were women. They all had very high boots and they all got passed. Out of like 7 or 8 questions out of the 30 people that were present, those 3 women, they're all very, they're very intense, very active people, and they made sure that they got the questions that they wanted answered.
So when they're there, you give them, they get a voice.
I don't
They're not
give
sitting in
anything,
the background,
they
they take it. I
Right.
like it, okay, great. That's what we want. We want a lot of strong women in this city, along with everybody else.
Along with everybody else.
It's a,
The Portland chapter of the Green Party, the Green Party.
This is a-
Green Party. What?
Is this a new question?
Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah, just make sure it's a new question.
We have 5 pillars as far as our platform goes. Peace, sustainability, grassroots democracy, social justice, and
Sustainability and
I'm
conservation.
having
so
a
it's
Rick
for-
Perry,
Non-violence.
Rick Perry moment there.
gotta stick to
So,
3. See if you
yeah.
can.
Anyways, the one I wanted to ask about is sustainability. Some local projects and policies that we're working for is an ordinance to ban coal transfers, also a community gardens project, using more of our parks and vacant lands for community gardens. Also, there's talk about a community solar project, like the Ashland Solar Pioneers project, and a feed-in tariff, which is just requiring PG&E to buy from solar suppliers. What are your positions on those policies, and also what sustainability policies and programs will you try to implement this year?
Can I ask you if this your solar program is related to Solarize Portland, the program that the city is doing? Is it the community-based solar program that's?
I'm not sure of the exact details. I just
Are you talking OREP, the Oregonians for Renewable Energy?
That's the
Policy,
feed-in
like
tariff.
statewide feed-in tariff versus.
Right.
So
Well,
that's,
Okay.
so then, yeah, you're talking about the
So
city.
let me just see if I can, so since I'm running for city office, let me just see if I can speak to it. First of all, my background is kind of sustainability is what I've been doing for a long time. So whether I've been involved in sustainable agriculture, building a sustainable food system. When you talk about community gardens, you're basically singing my song here, right? We're working out at Lancet Zenger Farm, for instance. I've sat on the Portland Sustainability Institute board, so I'm one of the people that have helped launch the Eco Districts project that I'm very excited about. I don't know if you know, there's 5 pilot eco districts in the city of Portland. And that would be a great place for you guys to plug in at a city level, because we need more momentum and grassroots support for those projects. It's very exciting. And then I've, of course, helped launch the Voice program, which is Sandy Clark's sustainable small business group that really is an exciting new voice for Portland. So I've been a part of, sustainability is partly key to who I've been from an economic, environmental, and equity perspective. One of the things I always like to challenge the sustainability community on in general is that it's not just about the environment. And if you really want to get to real sustainability, you have to look at the equity issues, which is one of the reasons that I got involved in the health fund board. Because I had worked so long on trying to prove that you can have an environmental mission and having strong economic bottom lines so that you can, so that people can create a lot of jobs. But I wanted to strengthen my personal commitment to the third leg of that sustainability stool. And so healthcare, when you look at healthcare, it becomes one of the big issues where there's so much inequality right now. So just as a point of reference, here's my background. So I'm committed to sustainability. I'd love to talk to you about it. It was part of this Solarize Portland program that's in place now, and the community level is really taking off. So I don't know if I answered your question exactly.
Just what is your position towards the idea of the community gardens project, and what is your position towards what's the coal transfer?
You mean the coal export through
The
Portland?
coal, yes.
Like Sierra Club has their campaign against Beyond the Coal, and then the massive exports going to China.
The export facilities are coming in that they're proposing, so I don't know if that's a city or
Basically,
It's gonna go
trains
through the
running
city.
through Portland carrying
Other-
trucks full of coal.
Trains.
Trains
Trains.
full of coal, yeah.
Yeah,
By my
yeah,
house.
cars, yeah.
Like it would be 2 hours or out of every 24-hour period with constant trains going by. I think that's what it was. Or Sierra Club was saying.
So I have to tell you that the coal train piece, I don't know a lot about the details of it, but I'd love to take a look at that. It'll be very interesting.
And then the community gardens is, let's have as many as we can. You ever seen the Diggable City project report? That basically says, let's look at all the public lands that we have in the city. The places you don't even think about. You know, whether they're schoolyards or they're next to a utility pole or lot, but there's a lot of places we can have community gardens that we need to take more advantage of them. And I know that Nick Fish's office is doing quite a bit. They expect to get another 1,000 garden plots. I don't know if you know about that in the next short while. So that might be something you want to plug into also.
So, do you want to just ask your own question?
You
and
mentioned
clarify?
sustainability.
I didn't get to meet you.
Oh, my name is Joe Wolf.
Jill?
You mentioned sustainability. Is New Seasons union? Why not?
Well, that's a decision of the staff. They get to make that decision. Yeah, so we would, if that's a staff issue, I'm certainly very supportive of workers' rights to organize, workers' rights to collectively bargain. And New Seasons Market has, we'd have to talk to some of the staff.
If I started a business, it would be union. That would be one of my first priorities.
And I think there's a lot of ways to be friends of labor and workers. And yeah, I don't know about the New Seasons. I'm very proud of the progressive workplace that we built at New Seasons. So some of the things that are pretty exciting
In your
about it.
progressive work site, you took down an art exhibit because you got one complaint about the art exhibit. Let me finish that and then I'll let it go.
You know, I'm sorry, I don't know about that particular
It was a
incident.
Palestinian art. There was a picket line around New Seasons over, and you don't know about it?
I don't know all the details of that one. No, I don't.
Why would you,
Well,
why
let me
would
just say
New
about the-
Seasons do that?
Well, this is a.
I would
this
love
meeting
to look into it.
Is for clarifying our positions, not,
Yeah,
not
You know,
for,
progressive
debate.
and Green Party positions.
But like after this is over, if she's willing to stick around.
You didn't even ask for permission to be here. You're not running anything.
I'm sorry, I think you
They
misunderstand.
are so ticked off that they did not even get the courtesy of asking that can you block their half of their store.
Joe, it's my understanding that you're here as a representative of the Progressive Party?
No. Individuals for Justice. Nice try.
If
You owe that lady an apology. Whoever organized this owes that lady an apology.
if Red and Black Cafe feels that there's too many people,
It's not about too many people, it's about having a union-busting politician in a closed shop sitting right in front of a IWW banner. It's like totally ridiculous. What the hell is the CEO of New Seasons and a mayoral candidate doing here? I mean, that's a question.
well, let me ask
So
you.
can I just say hi to you for a second?
I'll let you deal with it.
Let me just say hi, yeah. Hi, I'm Eileen.
I don't want to shake your hand, actually.
I'll wave that, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, what's your name?
my name is John.
I'd be happy, if there's something offensive, I'd be happy to leave, but you should know that I'm very, very committed, and my entire life has been committed to creating workplaces, including workers and co-ops, worker collectives and co-ops, throughout the food industry. I worked at the Olympia Food Co-op, I worked for the Puget Sound Co-op Federation. I'm an old activist from way back, and I am in this race because I think workers need economic justice.
You're the CEO of New Seasons, and you had an email that said
I'm a
that...
co-founder of New Seasons.
Co-founder, oh sorry, you're no longer the CEO, but you had an email that said that paraphrasing, that unions are just an impediment and part of the old style of doing business. That's a quote. I mean, it's a paraphrase quote, but I don't believe that that's true.
I'd be happy to comment on that. Do you want to go down this path, or
If you
your
have time,
choice?
if you have time
George.
for us to maybe continue any conversation we don't have time for here, maybe at the Academy office, you're free to like
Happy to do that.
Someone has challenged you, you're free to respond to that.
I think anyways, 2 minutes.
Yeah, like this was intended to be a half-hour conversation at a cafe, not something to cause strife.
I feel like we're at this, I mean, it's like...
My name's
name's Ryan. I live in this neighborhood. I come to the Red and Black very often. I didn't know you were going to be here today. I was actually sitting at this table, and then they took it over to film, which is totally fine. I'm just in the middle of the sandwich. But I'm really inspired by your words about social change and the power of the regular people. I think I appreciate the comments about unions, and there's been a lot to do in the news media recently about the lines in the HR manual about what John quoted about the old employer adversarial relationship. This morning, a press release went out from the Seven Corners store, a worker there who was engaging in concerted activity, invoking their speak up policy, which I understand is a policy at New Seasons that encourages workers to speak up about conditions to get resolution. Him and a group of workers have been engaging in concerted activity, bringing up issues at the coffee talks, and this worker was terminated 4 days after the last coffee talk. Fired for being accused of grazing off of the salad bar for his lunch, which amounted to like 25 cents worth of tofu. That he was immediately fired and terminated. A press release went out this morning. There's going to be an action, a rally on Tuesday, Valentine's Day, in front of the store, asking for the reinstatement of that worker and the ability to have a peer review panel for termination. So I'm curious, based on your commitment to power, to working people power, social justice, and your experience at New Seasons as their HR, what do you have to say to that worker that was fired for speaking up with his coworkers about the conditions of their workplace? And secondly, what will you do for him to ensure that him and his family are going to have a paycheck again soon?
I really appreciate you bringing it up. So thank you. So but let me just tell you my little disclosure so you know this, is that I don't have any official authority with New Seasons Market. I'm not on the board, I'm not on the staff. I have, as of 2 years ago, my whole family has been arm's length from the business. I'm not even a spokesperson for the business. So just so that you know that from a context perspective. And I'll tell you one thing, is that there's a number of personnel-related issues that, for people's privacy, we talk about. I don't know what they are in this case. I imagine that there may be multiple sides to that story. I really appreciate this worker speaking up, because it has to happen. One of the things we put in place at New Seasons Market was a third-party termination review arbitration process, which is really an extraordinary opportunity for people in this particular situation. I don't know if he took advantage of it or didn't take advantage of it. And I certainly am proud of that piece. It's very much an empowerment piece, and I don't know the details, but there is a process that I think is very empowering. So it'd be interesting to know more about that particular situation.
It doesn't seem empowering if you get fired 4 days after bringing that up. I'm guessing.
I don't know
first
what the
question is, what
timing
would you say to that worker who has lost his job, can't provide for his child? What would you say to him in this situation?
Here's what I would say. I would say, I'm really sorry about what's happening here. I promise that I won't disclose whatever the private parts of this conversation are to you. But let me tell you, you have rights at this company, and you can ask for a third-party termination review. And I don't know whether that conversation has happened or not. So that's quite honestly, that's how I operate. I keep people's privacy. I make sure they know what their rights are. I make sure that people have rights in a workplace and that they exercise them. So, and these coffee talks are.
So with your permission, breaking the normal, going around to keep addressing this, I'll go with people's raised hands, if that's all right.
Jordan, perhaps we can just clarify something. This is a meeting for the Portland Green Party and the Progressive Party to determine.
It was initially intended, like with Nolan, to be a half an hour to get some questions from two of the candidates who couldn't make it to our forum, and then we're going to move over to the Occupy office. We've gone over that time, but I think with your permission, I think it's with Brady's permission.
Cody, are we
Opportunity.
part of this?
We were co-sponsoring we were cooperating with the Green Party.
I invited.
I am not.
I'm not talking.
I'm not a party officer. I was asked to come film and represent the party and ask questions.
Who authorized the Oregon Progressive Party to be part of this?
To be part. We've been here Joe, this is about getting all of the voices heard. We didn't have the opportunity to hear from this woman or the
Well, I don't want
previous.
anybody going around saying the Oregon Progressive Party is a sponsor or part of this.
We're not a part of this. We are a
This
part
is
of
a
the political
mess.
process.
This is a mess.
Joe, I think it's fair to have a public forum where people come and ask questions and to have the different candidates' voices heard. We are all about having every voice heard, Joe. That is fundamental to our
Tell that
political process.
woman over there
This
who
conversation.
got ripped off because nobody's paying for this, that we're sorry.
I've helped you with Strawberries
Progressive
before.
Party is having their thing on Tuesday,
My
and
name's
party
Noah.
on the 21st.
Yeah, I work at Seven Corners. Ryan was my best friend there. I've known him I've worked there for 5.5 years. He worked for the company for 9.5 years. Had perfect performance reviews. Never got
Nice
written out.
story.
Never had a problem with attendance. Never spoken to about grazing. He worked in the bulk aisle himself for the last 9 years, where he watched managers and coworkers alike go through and graze the aisles all the time, eating nuts, eating everything. And then they're going to turn around and tell him that he is fired for stealing, which is an insult to his character. An insult to his character, when in fact he has never stolen from that company. And he has poured almost 10 years of his life into making New Seasons what it is today. And it really hurts me to see him targeted like this. And I would love to be able to have a chance to sit down and talk to you about what's happening at New Seasons. I know that you haven't been connected, but obviously I am. I work there all the time.
I'd love to do that, Noah. That'd be great. We should do that. Yeah.
So maybe, can you put down your contact information?
Definitely.
And then I'd like to get the question from, sorry, what's your name?
Emily.
Emily? Please.
I read an interview that you did with Street Roots newspaper, and one of the questions that was asked was about statements that you've made in the past regarding urban renewal and real estate development. And the quote that you gave to Street Roots was that whether or not urban renewal as a concept and real estate development in general has been specifically targeted at quote-unquote blighted neighborhoods is not a relevant issue. What would you say to low-income communities and communities of color who have been historically targeted by urban renewal policies, having their neighborhoods labeled as blighted as a cover for aggressive gentrification, such as the kind that Portland is seeing right now?